Hello guys, my name is Javier Maldonado. I work at the Vallarta Botanical Garden, the most beautiful garden in the Pacific coast of Mexico. And I'm thrilled to share with the APGA members our first presentation in the APGA sessions, our experiences growing the most beautiful and unique and important species of orchid, that is the vanilla, in a botanical garden in Mexico. The Vallarta Botanical Garden is built in one of the most beautiful and biodiverse ecosystems and forests that we have in the coastal part of the Pacific of Mexico. The amount of species that we have in this forest is crazily high. And one of the most unique families of plants that we have in our forest is the family of the orchids. And the species that is pretty important is the genera of the vanillas. In the Vallarta Botanical Gardens, we have this species that is the Vanilla planifolia. You can find this species in the wild. And we have other two species, that is Vanilla pompona, or but call it Madagascar vanilla, is Mexican vanilla. And we have another important vanilla, that is the species Vanilla inodora. As the name says, this species doesn't produce essence, but is pretty important into the ornamental floriculturist because the flower, as you can see, is super, super beautiful. We have here in the garden a public display of more than 1,000 plants, a complete vanilla plantation in our garden. And we can see over here one of the most laborious tasks that we have here in our vanilla plantation is the pollination, because the Vanilla planifolia and another species of vanilla, they have a specific pollinizer. And you can see right there, that is the Uglosa viridissima, that is a beautiful green metallic V. And that is the only species in charge of the pollination of the flowers that we have here in the forest. So as we have 1,000 of flowers of vanilla, 1,000 plants of vanilla, that individual couldn't take all of the job of the pollination of the vanilla. And you can see over there, one of our members of our staff doing the work of the pollination. We need to hand pollinate every single flower by flower. Is a lot of job, and is one of the stuff that I want to share with the APG members. This presentation is to encourage to the people, to the gardens, to have vanilla plantation in your gardens. And of course, you need to remember that the pollination and the labor of pollination is super hard and is one of the most difficult parts to take care of a vanilla plantation. One of the most important and difficult parts that we front here in our vanilla plantation is the pollination. We used to do another different kind of method of pollination. We only do literally a hand pollination. We stick our finger into the flower, but that is not helping us and that is not working well into our pollination rates. And we don't have a lot of vanilla beans in our garden. So we do travels to the Gulf of Mexico with the state of Veracruz. And there we learn different methods to hand pollinate your plant. And you can see over there in your right, Robert Price, that is the owner of the garden. And he's learning how to do a correct way of pollination. That is literally grab a stick of wood and open the open part of the flower, get the pollen and stick it again in the stigma of the flower. It's important to tell you that the vanilla species is a Mexican plant, and the Mexicans discovered the way of domestication of the plant in the Gulf of Mexico in the state of Veracruz. So this is a pretty important gift from Mexico to the world, and here in the garden we're pretty proud to share our experiences into the vanilla plantations. This is the starting of the vanilla plantation. We can see one of our members of our garden preparing the cuttings. And you can see in your right the most traditional way to prepare a vanilla plantation. That is literally grab wood parts and stick it in the soil and then put the cuttings, because the vanilla is a plant that can grow on surface. So it's going to attach to that wood, and from there we can pollinate and we can cultivate the vanilla beans. We can see over there the most traditional way of cultivate a vanilla plantation. And here in the garden, we have a lot of tropical forest. And of course, it's the best climate, the best weather to cultivate these kinds of plants. Also, in the garden, we have a vanilla pompona, or Madagascar vanilla, but is native to the Mexican Pacific coast and grows wild here in the forest. So it's pretty common to see plants getting attached by itself in the garden. Well, this is important to tell you that there is more than 100 different species of vanilla in the world, in every continent except Europe and Antarctica. But only we have 3 species that are important into terms of commerce, and those 3 species are in Mexico. And you can see over there the beautiful vanilla beans already ready to cut, and starting the drying part of the bean. We're going to dry those beans, cut, dry, and then they're going to be ready to use and make a beautiful and delicious vanilla extract. And here in the garden, we're pretty proud of the vanilla. And one of our board members, TJ Hartung, made this beautiful book about everything about the vanilla. And you can find it here in the Vallarta Botanical Garden in Mexico. And thank you so much. I think it's a little presentation, and it's not enough time to cover all the amazingness that the vanilla gives to us here in the garden.